Hello students, good morning again. So this is the video for class 9, the second half of the poem from your Beehive book, that is Wind by Subramania Bharati. The first half of the poem is already covered in the first video of this poem, and in this particular part we'll pick stanza number 3 and 4. We already know that wind is a natural phenomena, and in this poem, poet Subramania Bharati is talking to the wind. He is describing the destructive powers of the wind. In the beginning of the poem, he is very much, very much comfortable, or we say in a very light way, he is simply talking to wind about, not to create turbulences in his life. And as and when we move, we see that he gets very much angry over wind for creating so much troubles or bringing so much turbulences around him. Now, in this particular poem, we know the message is that one should really be strong, not only physically but mentally also, in order to survive the hardships of life. We know in this poem, wind is symbolic of the hardships and challenges. We have already done with the poem. For stanza number 1 and stanza number 2 is already covered. In stanza number 1, in this beginning, the writer is very in a light way asking or telling the wind, or asking the wind not to scatter the paper, shatter the windows, or throw his books. And then we see that how he scolds the wind for creating these turbulences in his life. In the next part, in the second stanza, we saw that how he is actually bringing out telling the readers about the youthful energy of the wind. The youthful energy when one is in youth. They are the reservoirs of energy. The youth are the reservoir of energy, we know. So wind also here, when is in its youth, bring even bigger turbulences and problems. So here he says the wind god winnows and crushes them all. He says the wind god separates the weak people from the strong people and crushes weak people under its power. Anyway, we did with first stanza and second already. For the detailed explanation, you can go back to those videos and check it. We'll directly switch to stanza number 3 here. See here, stanza number 3. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. See here, the writer says very clearly, he won't do what you tell him. Who is he here? He, concentrate on the first word, he here is the wind god. He has personified the wind here. Right? He won't do what you tell him. If you simply ask wind not to blow fast, not to create turbulences, or not to bring hardships, is he going to listen to you? Is wind going to listen to you? Of course not. So wind is like a king. It does things on its own. So he won't do what you tell him. So he says he here is the wind. The challenges means the challenges in your life won't stop coming. Challenges would come, problems would come, but the point is what we can do to prepare from such challenges, right? So he here suggests his readers to come, let's build strong homes, let's join the doors firmly. At a level, he says that we cannot, tell wind not to blow, tell wind not to create turbulences. But of course, what we can do is we can build strong homes, we can make strong doors, we can shut the doors strongly so that the wind do not get in the house. Okay. At the same time, he says practice to firm the body and make the heart steadfast. The word steadfast here means firm, strong, unwavering. The word steadfast is firm and unwavering. So he says what we can do is, we cannot actually stop challenges from coming into our lives, but what we can do is we can make our bodies stronger. We can make not only our physical body stronger, but also we can work on what our hearts, we can form our hearts so that we are able to face challenges in our full spirit. He says, do this and the wind will be friends with us. The wind will be friends with us. The point is, writer, very important point writer is trying to pull out here, is that wind, that is the challenges, support the stronger. If you are strong, the challenges make you even stronger. So he says, just practice to firm your body, make yourself physically stronger, make the heart steadfast, make yourself mentally strong, and see, not a single trouble, not a single challenge in your life will be able to what? Flicker you, will be able to scare you up. So he says, if we do this, if we do all this, if we take up the suggestions given by the writer, the poet, we'll enjoy the friendship of the wind. Similarly, in life we see that life is a test for individual. Life is never easy. It is the test. At each step, life gives us the test. Individuals must become stronger in mind and body and heart so that they can meet challenges, difficulties that they are faced with in their lives. Check out with the next stanza. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Very beautiful. First two lines are very beautiful of this last stanza. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. The wind here blows out, extinguishes the weak fires. The fires which are weak, like the candle is lit, if you see, in the flame of the candle or the flame of the diya. This flames gets what? Extinguished, even with the slightest of the wind. But what happens when there are strong fires? Can wind do anything to strong fires? Of course not. Strong fires even flourish, even grow strong when there are strong winds around. So here the wind, that is the challenges, blew out means crushes, weak fire means weak people. The weak people who are not strong physically, who are not strong mentally, they get crushed under what? When faced with challenges. But at the same time, if you're strong physically, if you're strong mentally, the problems and challenges in your life would help you what? Flourish, would help you grow. So take his friendship is good. Take wind as what? Your friend. Learn to change adversities to your advantage. Just make yourself strong and you'll learn to change adversities to your advantage, and you'll be able to get what? Pass through any of the challenge that life throws at you when you are strong physically and mentally. We praise him every day. The writer says problems and challenges in one's life make people even stronger. And now here he tells the readers to praise the wind, as now he compares wind to whom? Wind to God. Wind has power. Why wind to God? As God is powerful, God is omnipotent, God has the power to change everything around. The same way wind here is compared to God, that it has what? The power in the hand. But at the same time it says, though wind is God, but at the same time, if you are strong, you can change all the adversities, you can change all the difficulties, challenges, problems to your advantage. So in this poem, children, the wind becomes a paradoxical element. Paradoxical means to very opposite element it touches. Here the writer says the wind is paradoxical element as it simultaneously is good also and bad also. It is good for whom? It is good for the ones who are strong. who are ready to face challenges. But of course, the wind is bad for whom? The weak hearts, the weak people who are not ready to what? Stand against the challenges. So the writer implies here that each individual, each one of us has power to change adversities to something positive. Only if you make friendship with wind. You know? So one should be strong physically and mentally to survive what? The difficulties and hardships of life. Let's check with the literary devices those are used in the poem. In video number 1, I have already explained you that the poem doesn't follow any specific rhyming scheme. So it's written in what? Blank verse. You may check here also in stanza number 3 and 4. The last word, him, homes, firmly, body, steadfast as fires, flourish, good, every day. No specific pattern, no rhyming scheme. So that's written in blank verse. Also, the wind here is symbolic of what? Wind here is actually symbolic of the challenges and difficulties in one's life. So the figure of speech, literary device that is used here is what? Symbolism. When a thing refers to another thing. Like here, wind is symbolic of challenges. Another word you see is repetition. Another literary device used is repetition. Here we saw in stanza number 2, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters. Randomly it is repeated anywhere in the poem. So the figure of the literary device that is used here is what? Repetition. Next is alliteration. Alliteration, already you people know. I've already explained you in the earlier videos that the repetition of first sound of words is called as what? Alliteration. Here you see the example, wind god winnows. Wind god winnows. The stress is on verse sound, W. Wind god winnows. So the stress is on the first sound of win and winnow, that is the verse sound. Hence the literary device, poetic device that is used is alliteration. And also we know in the poem, what is personified? Wind is personified. The writer has given all what? The human traits to wind, as the writer calls wind as you. Writer points out the wind as you are very clever. So the wind is given what? Person's trait. When he says you, he is treating the wind as what? A person. So wind is personified here. The next literary device, poetic device that is used is anaphora. Okay. In the start of the poem, in the beginning of the poem, we saw in the very first stanza, line number 2, 3 and 4. See here again. Line number 2, 3 and 4. Don't break, don't scatter, don't throw. Consecutive lines 2, 3 and 4 starting with the same word. Here in the next stanza, you tore the pages, you brought rain, you are very clever. Again, the starting of the line number 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 6, 7 and 8 starting or beginning from the same word, you. So if the consecutive lines begin from the same word or phrase, then the literary device used is what? Anaphora. Okay, so here was the explanation of the poem Wind. This particular part was for stanza number 3 and 4. If you need to revise, if you wish to revise, please check both the videos for the first half and the second half, and you can do the poem. Also, I've given you some questions here, you can check. These questions you are to do in your fair copy, children. If you do not have fair copy with you, no need to worry. Again, I've already told you, you can do it in the rough copies or the pages from the last year's copy. And as and when you get the fair material, make sure these questions are done in your fair copy. See here, some are taken from the NCERT text also. In this particular poem, all 6 questions you have to do in only 30 to 40 words each. I have not given you any long answer question. I'll just read the question once for you. Number 1, what are the things that the wind does in the first stanza? Okay, what are the things that the wind does in first stanza? For that, you have to switch back to stanza number 1. Check there and write answer in your own words. Second, what does the poet say the wind god winnows? The wind god winnows, I told you, wind god winnows whom from what? So you have to go back again to stanza number 2 here and check for the answer, but write it in your own words. Third, what should we do to make friends with the wind? What are the suggestions that the writer has given, that the poet Subramania Bharati actually gives here, so that we make friends with the wind? All those suggestions you have to write here, framing it in 40 words. Now, what do the last 4 lines mean to you? Last 4 lines, you can switch to the last stanza. But the wind blows out weak fires, the strong fires flourish and roar, right? So those 4 lines, what exactly you understand by those 4 lines, you can go back and read the explanation of the poem again and write it in 30 to 40 words. Next is the theme of the poem. Okay, you have to write it in your own words, but in video number 1 the theme of the poem is already given, so you can pick the points from there and can frame it in your own words. And in the very last and very important question in the poem, what is the wind symbolic of? What is the wind symbolic of? Okay, the whole poem is around the wind only, and what exactly it is symbolic of. So I guess you people already know the answer, but the point is that you have to frame it nicely in your own words. Please make sure that you do answer in 30 to 40 words only, and that too when you get the fair material in your fair copy. Okay, so here we are done with poem number 2, and if you need to revise, please check for video number 1 and video number 2 of this poem. Okay, I'll just come another time with another chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye.